read chapters 13 through 17, and the first one that I want to start with was actually section 13, so assessing your students' progress. And we've actually talked about this in class quite a bit, and actually multiple classes, with data-driven instruction and formative and summative assessments. And just reading through this book, I mean, it just reiterates how important both summative and formative assessments are, seeing as summative can tell us how well we've shown our students the material that they need, and then that in turn can actually help us for the next class that we would be teaching that material. And then formative assessments shows us, what they do know and then what they don't know, and then that way, so that we can see what they don't know, we can go back through and touch on a few more things. That way we can make sure that they know them by the time that they get to the formative assessment. So yeah, basically it's just pretty cool that this book reiterates what we've learned in some of the other classes, but it's got the tracking formative assessment data worksheet for us, and then a bunch of different types of formative assessments on, what page is this? 369. So I mean, if we want some different ideas of other ways that we can assess our students, we can always go back in the book and check. And then the other chapter that I really liked, but I think it was chapter 16, managing discipline problems. So I wrote down a few things, but this chapter's got a lot of good things, and from even subbing, I don't necessarily know how to discipline my students, which luckily I haven't had to, seeing as I'm not their main teacher, and all the teachers that I've subbed for so far, they tell me the kind of stuff that I can do, so that really helps. And then I've pretty much had good kids so far, so lucky me. But some of the behaviors not to accept, like dishonesty, threats or intimidation to you or other students, tardiness, truancy, failure to finish their work. These are just a couple behaviors that we can't let our students do. Other ways would be, ways that we might actually be the troublemakers. And let's see where that was. So if we are too permissive, or if we're unclear on our limits for our students, they might not know exactly what's expected, so they might be trying to push the boundaries, and then you might punish them for one thing instead of another. Or that was another one, is if you punish one student for something but then another student does the same thing and then we didn't punish them, you need to be equal and make sure that all along the board you're the same on every single thing, every single student, it's the same for them. So that's ways that you could potentially be the troublemaker with your students. But yeah, I mean, think before you act. It's got the section on how to deal with a difficult class. And like I said, luckily I haven't had to deal with that, but you never know. You might just have a class that has issues, and going back to this book, you can find different ways and strategies that will help you turn it into a successful class. Says bringing in the parents or the guardians as soon as you can when a problem arises, or make sure that the activities offer plenty of time for practice and review. Never allowing students to sit with nothing to do, because they're always going to find trouble if you give them too much free time. But yeah, so I mean, just so many things in this book that when we finally have our own class, and we might be dealing with, sorry about the dog barking, we might be dealing with issues in our own class and we don't know how to deal with them, we can go back in this book and find different methods to fix problems, or we might not even realize what the issue might be, but then going back through and checking this book again, we can kind of see from a different point of view, I guess. But yeah. All right, well, hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye.